Wash your bloody feet on the oozing toes, and the moon rats will scream. Oh, the muses and the water holes and the wombats do play. Hello, United States of America. I am Jutter Caine, the Cheshire Cat that H.P. Lovecraft left by a door to watch and guard and safeguard the world from what lies beyond that door. Now, the rest of the world has known about a secret which I am going to tell you about. You see, there is a man who sits by a door, the door of a vault, and he laughs, knowing what lies beyond that vault. And he sits and he patiently waits and watches the clock tick by. Well, in this vault are the master reels of an extremely interesting production. A production known as The 5 Gargoyles Present Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Now, it was back in the 80s. A group of us got together, and we got together for an entire month. Now, you have to understand, we were shooting films at approximately a rate of 1 film per 3 hours. So you can imagine just how much we could accomplish when we work for an entire month on a project. Now, the series we created was a series of stories based on H.P. Lovecraft short stories. And it starred Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, myself, Boris Karloff, Peter Lorre, Basil Rathbone, Lon Chaney Jr., Lon Chaney Sr., with additional help from people like Mario Bava and Lamberto Bava, Dario Argento. The production companies in Italy got together with the production companies in England, with the wonderful group known as We Are H.R. Geiger, and Japan's Industrial Smoke and Mirrors. We created a wonderful sequence. Some of these films the idea was, let's see how far you can go with CGI. And then let's see if we can terrify you with rubber more than you can terrify the world with CGI. So to some extent, these films were intended to be seen later by the United States. They were released on a limited edition, given out to countries that were told, this is unrated, absolute terror horror. The most terrifying thing you will ever see. Would you like to witness it, or would you like to pass? And they were seen in places like Russia and other countries. Some of the things we did a episode of the Horror in the Museum, in which I am inside this gigantic lion-ish thing. It's called a klopkin. And it shows just what can be done with mime and with rubber and with robotics. I got to have a jump assisted so that I crouched into a wonderful suit, and the mechanics of it allowed me to actually jump further and farther and faster. And I got to crash around and chase Christopher Lee throughout a museum. It was a lot of fun. There was one episode called The Mountains of Madness, in which we created probably the most terrifying blob you have ever seen in your entire life. This blob is, of course, H.P. Lovecraft's wonderful amoeboid type creature, which was made out of clear rubber, filled with a fluid colored in red to make it look like blood, in which Barbara Steele, myself, Nicoletta Elmy, and Ursula Andress got in full wetsuit gear with oxygen tanks, and we started swimming inside this gigantic blob. And we had lots of parts of human bodies, faces, teeth, hands, legs, all sorts of pieces of a person that were all made of foam latex that we pressed against the sides of the monster. And as we pressed along, it moved. So we would swim and push body parts through the outer rubber, and we would move our wonderful creation across the screen. So you can understand just how terrifying that would actually be when you see it. It was probably one of the most wonderful things we could do with that monster. We have a sequence with the graveyard for the hound, where I play a flying hound, and Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. get to be the gravediggers. And Lon Chaney Sr. gets to wave a shovel at the hound, screaming, "Don't you touch my son!" or something of that nature. It's been years, I forget the exact line. But it's so much fun. They did such a great job with it. We have one sequence which is called The Hounds of Tyndallis. We brought in Frank Belknap Long. For the Hounds of Tyndallis, we had several things. We had mechanical hounds from Japan's Industrial Smoke and Mirrors, and we had actual live dogs, courtesy of Dario Argento. And we had a lot of fun filming D'Artagnan and several of the others. Dario's hounds are named after the Three Musketeers, so we just had a blast. There's one episode, The Whispers, was it? Whispers from Outer... I can't remember exact titles now. I haven't read my Lovecraft in too long. Whispers from Space or whatever it is. In which we play Mingo, where myself and Peter Cushing get dressed up in these wonderful costumes to be the Mingo. And we have robotic legs. We have a robotic third leg which moves as we move. So you would move one leg, the robotic leg would move, memorizing your movement that you just made, and then you'd move your next leg, and then you'd do it again and again and again. So we moved with 3 legs across the screen. In one episode, I got to play Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos, with 3 legs and arms and a tentacle writhing out of my head. And I pirouetted across the stage with 3 legs. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my memory is not so good. I haven't seen it since we actually made it back in the 80s. But someday the vault will open and you may be allowed to see the final masterworks of some of the greatest horror actors that this world has ever seen, including Boris Karloff, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, Lon Chaney Sr., Lon Chaney Jr., Basil Rathbone, and myself. It's been entertaining, if nothing else. Third chorus. Wash your bloody feet on the oozing toes, and the moon rats will scream.